as lack of banks, POS operators worsen plight of northern residents. I'm hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, BKO. I greet you, Jide. Good evening.
Good evening, viewers.
We also have Adekunle Yusuf here, hanging out. I greet you, Adekunle.
Good evening, sir.
So the team is ready. I hope you are. Now to our first story. You know, in a political season like ours, it is only natural to have dust and mud thrown up in the air for a purpose. A civil society organization, Budget, has accused members of the National Assembly of diverting public funds with phony constituency projects. Budget says that out of the 100 billion naira budgeted for constituency projects for the 469 lawmakers across the 36 states of the country, 60 billion naira is expended on empowerment. And this empowerment comes by way of buying tricycles, motorcycles, and two-day tailoring and shoemaking trainings, where beneficiaries gain nothing at the end of the day. Now, to the organization, the whole empowerment gambit is a ruse to and a bogus way of diverting public funds. Jide, here we are.
Yeah, and the truth is, in an election year, you will expect that there will be a lot of
Stuff like it.
Money spent on things like this, empowerment, buying keke nape for people, buying sewing machines, and sometimes even refrigerators. They share refrigerators to people. But for constituency projects that compete with the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing for the funds that are not really there, you will expect that money will be spent on projects that are long-lasting, like roads, like even
Hospitals,
things that are enduring in nature, that year on year you will see them and you will remember that it's this particular lawmaker that facilitated the siting of those projects. Even schools, for example, in my hometown, for example, you see the state of the secondary school in the town. And that secondary school is the first in the local government. It used to be a district. It's the first, and it came about through communal efforts.
All right.
But if you see the state of infrastructure in the school, you will burst into tears.
As we speak.
Yes. Now, the ideal thing is for lawmakers from that area to say, look, this school shouldn't be in this decrepit state. Let me do something about it. Spending 60 billion naira on empowerment, on things that sometimes they even sell those things off. You give a motorcycle to someone, the next time you see him, he has sold it off. We should be talking about tangible and enduring projects. Like the school, for example, you can say, okay, you are building language laboratory for maybe a tertiary institution in that in your constituency. Maybe they have a polytechnic and their mass comm department is just struggling, to put his foot on the ground. You can say, okay, I'm building a language lab for the mass comm department of this polytechnic in my community. People will appreciate it.
Yeah.
That will be helping even TED Fund, so that TED Fund can then spend his money on other things like research and the rest. But is spending billions of naira on empowerment items. I've even seen, I think there was a lawmaker that donated wheelbarrows to his constituents. Spending billions on empowerment
freezers,
generators, freezers, hair dryers. No, those they don't last. And in my view, they should be setting up even skill acquisition centers with the money at their disposal. The skill acquisition center will yield a lot of young people who will have been trained and they can stand on their own.
Yeah.
They don't have to rely on government. You know, the sort of thing that NYC now does. You know, during our time, the NYC was not doing that. But they now do it, they're teaching people skills so that they don't have to be looking for white-collar jobs all over the place because they are not there.
Yeah. Yusuf, you are wondering why now for budget? You know, is it because it's an election year and so on and so on?
No, I don't think so. Because if you have followed budget over the years, it usually comes out either around December or January every year. And consistently, every year it has always been like this, whether election time or election year or not. What I've seen is this thing we call constituency projects. You know, when you trace the history down, you know, it's strange to us until I think 1999, and when this idea came up, I think it was meant to get the buy-in of the federal lawmakers and all that. And before you know it, it became a conduit pipe for stealing public funds. You remember Jubril, that young man from Kano, the lawmaker from Kano, when he raised the alarm at that time. You know, it's a yearly cycle, and now it has become something like a normal thing. And when you look at our budget every year, the National Assembly parts the budget heavily every year. You get my point? Yeah. And you see the president, this president, you know, complaining, but he will still sign it. You understand me?
Signs with tears.
Whatever, sign either happily or reluctantly. The moment you append your signature, you have signed it. Yeah. And the law doesn't know whether somebody was signing with tears or signing with, celebration. You know, the moment you append your signature, it has become a law because that's the appropriation act for that year. So look at last year, look at the year before, year in, year out. Under this president, you know, it's the same story. The president before him, it was the same story. The president before that one, it was the same story. So since 1999, it has been a terrible, tool for stealing, the Commonwealth, and both in the two arms of the National Assembly. So it's not limited to the
National Assemblyman you talked about was Ahmed Lawan.
No, not Ahmed Lawan. It's Jubril.
Okay, Jubril.
That who loves to wear white, from Kano. I can remember his face very well. Yeah. He raised the alarm at the time, and I think Dogara Yakubu was the speaker at the time. He was in charge of, I think, appropriation committee or something like that, and he raised the alarm that I think is it not 40 billion or 20 billion that some people are marked for just the principal officers. Then he realized that some standing committees also earmarked, and that became, a national uproar. But at the end of the day, I think he recanted, and before the stealing continues, and it continues to get worse and worse and worse. And Nigerians seem to have, resigned to faith that there's nothing they can do. So when you look at what is happening, it's so sad. You see duplication of projects. I talked about budget padding. So when budget is padded through this guy under the guise of we'll do constituency project. So you now see that beyond the federal lawmakers, we have people in the ministry, in the department, in the agencies that work in cahoots with our lawmakers. So it's all of them to steal the Commonwealth. So they steal our money every year, and it seems the executive seems to have become, hopeless and incapable of handling it.
Jide, so budget has raised dust. So what next?
The culture has to change. And when I talk about the culture, I'm not referring to the lawmakers alone. Some of our young people do not even want to get involved in anything that is growing in nature. For example, a lawmaker tried to cite a mega farm in his constituency, and they told him, no, bring money, just after money. They said he should put his own children in the farm. They're not interested in working in the farm. If you have a big farm, for example, look at the kind of farms that Olam has in northern Nigeria. Thousands of kilometers of rice farms. If you put one in a particular community, it will provide employment for people.
It will.
Yes, and it could ultimately help bring down the price of rice, which is the most common food that we eat in our country. But these people are not going to have that kind of suggestion. Look, it's not what we want. Just bring the money. What our people want is someone who comes into town and shells out money to them. If you're a politician who gives out money to people, you are going to be popular and difficult to defeat in an election. The one who does not like to share money will find it difficult to win an election.
Who does not give shit?
Except if he's ready to rig and all that. Our people are not interested in this idea, I know they share shishi. No. In our country, the young people will demand for money because they believe that even those politicians, once they get there, what do? They are there to steal. So give me my own share of the national cake now. Because once you get there, you are not accountable to me. You are your own. You do what you want. We can't even ask. So give us the cocoa now. That's what they're after.
Added to that is the fact that it's like a yeoman's job attempting to recall a particular lawmaker.
No, that one, the process is so cumbersome that I think we tried it some years back.
In your state?
No, I'm not even referring to my state. I'm referring to this politician from Plateau State who was very close to the former deputy Senate president. He was very close to Obasanjo, and they blamed him for what Joshua Dariye went through in the hands of Obasanjo.
Ibrahim Mantu.
Yeah. They tried to recall him, but INEC frustrated the process. Because you need INEC. If INEC does not cooperate, you cannot recall anybody. Because they can frustrate the process, and that was what happened with Mantu. So, but I want to submit that for our people, they should actually be demanding for those things that we endure, not simply constituency projects. I've seen, for example, in Surulere, the kind of work that the Speaker of the House of Reps has done. Of course, the principal officers, the quantum of money at their disposal is huge. That was the point that Jibrin was trying to make, But he's done a lot of work, roads, especially with paving stones. When you go to Surulere, there's a whole lot of difference that you can attribute to the Wajamia Mila years as our Speaker. The same thing with Binani. It's one of the reasons Binani is popular in Adama State. He's done a lot, But for me, let's see projects that are enduring, that people can point to.
That's it.
Stop giving people Okada and the rest of them. In an economy that is growing, motorcycle taxi is not the way to go.
On. But the debate will continue. Now we see a lot of question mark on constituency Projects. All right, to our next story. You know, an old established political creed is the one that says, in politics, there are no permanent friends or enemies, but permanent interest. But then, political intrigues are key elements in the game. With a few meters to go to the finish line, in a manner of speaking, the presidential flag bearer of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, is asking the candidate of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, to withdraw from the presidential race to avoid a crushing defeat. Now, the Atiku camp believes that the APC presidential candidate has lost his fighting chance in the coming presidential election, amidst the controversy trailing his running mate, Senator Kashim Shettima. According to British writer of political history, Ernest Benn, politics is the art of looking for trouble, finding it, whether it exists or not, diagnosing it incorrectly, and applying the wrong remedy, Yusuf.
That definition is
it a laughing matter?
He likes to laugh.
What a funny definition. You see, in the language of political campaigns, this is what they call political jokes.
Yeah, okay, yes. Jokes.
Joke, yeah.
Really?
No, it's a political joke. This is what every or virtually all the candidates have been doing so far. Asiwaju has done it countless times in this campaign. We just advise Atiku, you have no chance in it. You have a serial loser and defeating you again. I'm retiring you. So
yeah.
The other time you see somebody saying Atiku and Asiwaju should go and sit and give a younger person. Another day you see all the front runners, all the contenders should step down, for the pretenders, all sorts of things.
And at a particular time, we heard somebody had stepped down for somebody, and the man said, "No."
See, until the day of the election, you cannot predict what will happen.
Anything is
possible.
possible.
Will plant information that so person is not as withdrawn from the race. You need to come back. So this is the kind of things we continue to see, because even the person saying this knows 100% in his heart that it is impossible. As long as there is no issue of death, nobody can stop Asiwaju from contesting this election. You get my point? So Atiku himself knows it. Even when Asiwaju said Atiku should not come, Asiwaju knows that to come and contest. So it's a joke. And it's meant for entertainment, They love the theatrics when they are campaigning. They want to make people feel happy, entertained, and all that. Those are the kind of things.
It reminds me.
It doesn't make any sense in the real sense of it.
It reminds me of Adams Oshomole in his heydays. All right. Jide, we talk about political histrionics. This must be one of them. Blowing hot and cold.
Except that, there is a bit of ironic twist to this advice given to Asiwaju to get out of the race. The PDP spokespersons are in a kind of tight race amongst themselves. Everyone wants to impress the boss. So you see all kinds of statements from spokespersons of the campaign. There was even one that I saw accusing Asiwaju of encouraging his aides to be abusing the president. So, and I'm like, what is your business with what happens in their party? If somebody abuses the president, that person is from the APC. Why is it a concern to you that you now issue a statement
regarding that,
saying that Asiwaju is telling his aides to abuse President Buhari. Now, the strategy is clear that if they can push President Buhari, they can give the impression that, look, the man that you are supporting, whom you want to see succeed you, does not respect you. He's telling his people to abuse you. Every opportunity, his people attack you. And maybe Buhari will now say, no, I don't want this person. And we will withdraw his support for the candidate of his own party. That, in the real sense of the word, he presided over his emergence because he sat there during the primaries. Everything happened before his eyes. And he was the one who gave him the flag. So they are trying to see how they can put a wedge between the presidential candidate of the APC and the president himself. But that is not the only thing that's going on. The source of this statement was another poll. So many polls have been released during this political season. There is a next year poll showing the candidate of the Labour Party ahead of the others.
Yeah, I've seen it.
There are 4 of them, 4 top contenders now. That poll showed Obi to be ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
Now, the spokesperson of the Tinubu campaign admitted to the fact that, yes, Atiku is strong in certain areas. They then latched upon that, yes, he has admitted that Atiku is very strong in this area. This is a catchment area. This is impregnable in this area. But they stayed away from admitting that that poll, that same poll that they referred to, showed Peter Obi ahead of Atiku.
All of them.
Yeah. Somewhere else.
Yes. It was auto. You didn't refer to that. Should, for example, if you believe that poll, that should get you worried. That it looks like Labour Party is about to win this. What the APC people are trying to do is show that, look, these polls do not represent the way our people will vote. Opinion polls are not exact science.
Yeah.
You cannot put too much on it because we saw how opinion poll failed in 2016 when they all felt that Trump was going nowhere and Trump won the election. They were now asking themselves after that, where did we miss it? How come all of us didn't know that this man could win?
Jide, let me put the pause there. I hear we must make some money now. So we'll go on this break. Please stay with us. Don't go away.
My name is Kashim Shetima. I'm the APC vice presidential candidate. According to Korn Ferry, a global consulting firm, by 2030, there will be a global talent deficit of 85 million. Because of our useful population, our geographic location, and our proficiency in English, Nigeria stands a unique chance of becoming the global talent factory. The building behind us is the Secretariat for the Implementation of the Startup Act. It's the Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center. Of the 7 unicorns in Africa, 5 are in Nigeria, all in Lagos. It wasn't a coincidence, neither was it an accident. It wasn't magic. It is called leadership. It is the Tinubu effect. Vote wisely, vote Bola Tinubu for the president of Nigeria. God bless us all.
My brother, my sister, do you know that winning an election is not only about getting the majority vote? For that your candidate to be declared winner of the election, he or she must secure 25% of the vote in 2/3 of all states plus the FCT to be president, and 25% of the vote in 2/3 of all local governments of a state to be governor. This is constitutional, and every presidential candidate has had to pass this threshold. Even governors have had to make this mark to get elected in their states. We live in one country with different languages, religions, and ethnic groups. This is why it is not enough to have only northern votes, or southern votes, or eastern votes, or western votes. The only way to get elected as president or governor is by gaining enough support across the country and states. Let us make sure that we know now so that we don't cause an issue tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO.
Igbo kwenu, oge anyị ji atọ akwụkwọ erugo, gbaa mbọ tụnyere Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, eze ọgbara dike ọgụ nke ala oko, ka o wee bụrụ anyị president, ma onye nke ịbụọ ya, Senator Kashim Shettima wee bụrụ vice president n'ala anyị bụ Nigeria. O nyere ụmụ Igbo ikikere ka ha wee nwee ọganiru n'ala Lagos. O mekwara ka ala Lagos bụrụ ebe nabatara ụmụ Igbo. Nke a mere Tinubu eyi ka nwanne. O nyere ya ike ime Lagos State ihe ọ pụta. Ọ gaghị anyịkwa ya ike ime Nigeria ka ọ bụrụ obodo eji ama atụ. Ka ụmụ Igbo jikọọ aka tinye Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu nke APC ka o wee bụrụ anyị onye isi nke ala Nigeria. Ozi a site n'aka ọzọ Obinna Francis Oguegbu, Ojele Igbo Ijele nke Igbo Arise for Tinubu Shettima.
A day to remember in the history of our dear country, Nigeria. 9 wise men from the north who are governors came together on June 8th, 2022 to stand for equity and fairness in the interest of our nation, Nigeria. They buried personal interest for the unity of our country. They supported the call that power must shift to the south in 2023. They chose a Nigeria agenda. We salute our brothers and sisters in the northern part of this country who, in spite of their vote advantage, continue to propagate the unity of Nigeria by promoting rotational presidency between the north and southern part of the country. Let voters in the north follow the move by these leaders. Vote for power shift to the south. It's the turn of the south to produce the president in 2023. Let's vote Bola Tinubu for president for a renewed hope of better Nigeria. Vote Kashim Shettima as vice president. Vote APC. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Hello Nigerians, my name is Kashim Shettima. I'm the APC vice presidential candidate. Here we have 1,776 orphans, vulnerable orphan girls from Northern Borno, all of them victims of Boko Haram, our housed and educated, getting the best that the nation has on offer. Look at this edifice. It's about one of the best schools in the nation, and this has been replicated along the length and breadth of Borno, and further sustained by Governor Babagana Umara Sulum. What was into office? We promise you such edifices will be replicated across the length and breadth of this nation. Vote wisely, vote Bola Tinubu for the presidency of Nigeria come February 25th.
Okay, folks, let's go back to the story we have at hand. Of course, it's no longer news that the flag bearer of the PDP in the forthcoming elections is asking the APC presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, to step down now to avoid the crushing defeat, you know.
And I was saying that this whole argument began from the Neste poll, an African-based international development consulting firm that came up with a poll showing that Peter Obi is ahead of other presidential candidates with 37.8%, Atiku in second with 27%, and Tinubu 24%, and Kwankwaso 6%. Now, in the Southwest, this poll gives Ekiti State to Labour Party, gives Lagos to Labour Party, gives Ogun to Labour Party, gives Osun to PDP, gives Ondo to APC, and gives Oyo to Labour Party. So this poll envisages that APC will win only one state in the Southwest, despite Tinubu being in the race.
That's not possible.
And they believe that Lagos will also be won by Peter Obi of Labour Party. Then in the South, they expect Peter Obi to win Akwa Ibom, win Bayelsa, win Cross River, win Delta, win Edo, win Rivers. That means the whole of the South. And then Southeast, they expect him to win all the Southeast states, the five of them. Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo. They expect PDP to win the president's home state of Katsina with 39.7%. Then NMPP to win Kano with 57.9%. Sokoto, they expect the PDP to win with 61%. Then Kebbi, they expect the PDP to win with 49%. Zamfara, APC to win with 51.1%. When you go to North Central, they expect, the poll expects Labour to win Benue. They expect Labour to win Nasarawa as well. And they expect PDP to take Niger and Plateau. But APC to take Kwara and Kogi. Then coming to the Northeast, the poll expects PDP to win Bauchi with 60% of the votes. Then Borno, APC with 62%. I expect the margin to be higher in Borno if that's what will happen. Then APC to win Yobe with 46% and PDP 32%. So again, that's not the way the voters behave in those two states. They don't allow any party to come close to the APC. That's why we always say that Borno and Yobe are one-party states. Mm-hmm. Then Gombe, they expect the APC to win a tight race there. And surprisingly, they expect APC to win Atiku State. Adamawa.
Curiously too.
Adamawa, with Labour coming second with 30.8% and PDP 29.2%, meaning that Atiku will come third in Adama State. I was in Adama. I spent 9 days in Adama about 2 weeks ago. That's not what I saw. That's not what I saw, that Atiku will come third. When people will come third in Adama State.
In his state.
And he's in the race, he's contesting for president.
And he's not popular in his state.
That is the impression that they are giving us, that he will come third. That Peter Obi will defeat Atiku in Adama State. This is why sometimes people laugh at some of this polling. Some will get it
it's a sentiment.
I mean, how can Atiku come third in Adama State?
At least the son of the soil factor will play out for every
Even as strong as President Buhari is in northern Nigeria, he couldn't defeat Atiku in the state, in Adama State.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a tight race, but he managed to defeat the president, even as an incumbent president in Adama. Now, with Buhari not in the race, they are telling us that Atiku will come third. So this is the thing. So I'm not surprised that Bayo came out to say, look, Bayo Onanuga dismissed it, but admitted that in some parts of the country, Atiku is quite strong. Now, admitting that Atiku is strong in some areas is what led to the statement that, he too acknowledges that a man is impregnable in certain places, therefore, he should quit the race. This is a joke now. This is a joke. You cannot tell Tinubu to quit the race now. What is the reason that I will give to the supporters for quitting the race?
It's impossible.
So in politics, anything is possible.
Of course.
Anything.
But it's not like
this one is not.
It's not like withdrawing from the race. Asking Asiwaju to withdraw from the race. How will you achieve that? No, how will you achieve that? That's impossible. Except, that I don't know what will make any major candidate to withdraw.
All right.
Even no court case can stop it.
Well, the viewer must not forget there are 18 presidential candidates in all. So the voter is king in all of this, regardless of the poll stars. Okay, let's go to our last story for the evening. As the scarcity of new Naira notes continues to stifle economic activities countrywide, Kano State Chief Executive Abdullahi Ganduje has weighed in on the unhealthy development. Now, the top politician claimed that some opposition political parties are, in his words, seeking to disrupt the democratic transition while hiding behind the Naira redesign policy introduced by the central bank. Referring particularly to the suit filed by 4 political parties seeking a non-extension of the deadline for withdrawing old Naira notes from circulation, Governor Ganduje accused the parties, in collusion with the PDP, of attempting to sabotage the country's democracy. That's a very weighty accusation. Yusuf, that's a weighty accusation,
yes,
don't you think?
And he himself, the governor, has gone to court today.
Yes. Alando Ondo too is going to go.
Ganduje has gone to court today to challenge the president that he doesn't have the power to unilaterally go ahead, that he should cancel that policy, that he should reverse it. Yes, he has gone to the Supreme Court, not just any court.
By the way, the old date was supposed to lapse today.
Yes, but at least Supreme Court has given us a breather.
Yeah.
I think some people said February 15th.
Yeah.
So, but now, by the suit filed by Governor Ganduje, he's seeking absolute reversal of that, cancellation of that policy. And his belief is that due diligence wasn't, done before the policy and was, announced, and that the president needed to carry people along. You need sensitization, you need a lot of, enlightenment, that all these things were not done.
Yeah.
And that what eventually happened, believe me, people are just talking about this policy. Since I became an adult, this is the best policy that has come out from any administration. But the implementation has destroyed it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, most of those that are crying now are behind the frustration, that eventually became the lot of that policy.
Yeah.
You get my point? So the government may have good intentions, but nobody cares about that now. It's the bottom line that matters. Everybody is suffering except our big men that are not suffering. Ordinary folks in Nigeria are suffering. Small businesses are almost dead now.
Yeah.
So everywhere you see people gnashing their teeth, people crying. Yesterday I was around, I moved around. Do you know, I needed to give, sometimes I was so moved, I gave people money to eat.
Oh dear.
People, yes, because they didn't have access to the little they have in the bank. And not everything you can buy with transfers. Of course, some people you bring out your card, you do PS, you pay, you go. Not everywhere. I was in this shopping mall this afternoon, and I brought out, old Naira note. They say, no, they don't take it. This popular shopping mall here.
Grand Square.
Yes. They say, no, they even put notices everywhere that since February 8th, they've stopped taking this note.
Which is against the law.
This is open. So when I saw it, I behaved as if I didn't see it. After buying items, I counted the money. They said no.
Put the money back.
Even that one that is holding.
Yeah.
Even that one that is holding.
If you know hold well.
It's difficult to lay your hands on
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what he has that is flaunting before our eyes can easily disappear in this studio.
That's not what I suspected.
So it's a good advice that you gave me.
Yeah, yeah. No, but GD, seriously, we have become a country of conspiracy theorists. And you are wondering if this is us. Because in 1974, this same President Buhari, 84, then a military 84. Man, he changed currency. But it was not, it didn't carry this much hula balloon.
Yes, Nigeria is equal to compare Nigeria of 1984 to this time. The rapid expansion of our population.
Yeah.
You feel it everywhere. You feel it everywhere. In those days, we had very few universities to the point that in doing social studies, you memorized all the VCs of universities.
Oh, of course, yes.
Oh, yeah.
How many VCs can you
remember now?
I remember.
We said 13 governors of that. I mean, I did 19.
So things have changed. Things have changed. The fact that something succeeded in 1984 does not mean that at this time you can come up with it and expect that you will experience the same level of success. The country is a much bigger country now than that time. You know? So, and the wickedness of the people who rule us and the people who come up with policies is that they see something done in another country. They come here and say, let's do this.
Yeah.
Without thinking or bearing in mind some of the problems associated with the implementation of even that one in this country, in the country where they borrowed the idea. Of course, India came up with something similar to this in 2016. They even did it on a bigger scale. There are two highest denominations. They withdrew them suddenly. And what they withdrew amounted to about $360 billion. They were looking to catch counterfeiters. They were looking to catch people who are hoarding money in their homes, that they felt were hoarding money in their homes. A lot of them not paying tax. But at the end of the day...
All right.
At the end of the day, hold on a bit. Yeah. At the end of the day, the policy failed. And it's the poor people who do not use digital platforms for their transactions. People involved with small and medium scale enterprises, agriculture, and all, they were the ones who suffered. Yeah. For 2 years, India did not recover from it. This is there. Why did we then decide to do it almost exactly the way they came up with their own?
We'll preface answers to that poser, but let's go on this commercial break. Please stay with us. This is still Journalist Hangout.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has done a lot for the growth of creative and tourism sector in the past 3 years. These include inauguration of the John Randall Center for Yoruba Culture and History by President Muhammad Buhari, empowerment of youths in creative industry, creation of 10-year tourism master plan, release of 1 billion naira as COVID-19 palliative, 50% rebate on registration and renewal fees for hospitality and tourism agencies, inauguration of Lagos Cultural Village and Lagos Film City, 200 million naira interest-free loan granted to 50 filmmakers, and many more.
He is Mr. Performer. He is ready to do more. This is Greater Lagos Rising. Re-elect Governor Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu as Governor of Lagos State. Vote for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, and all the APC candidates in Lagos State.
APC Progress. This message is brought to you by Honorable Mrs. Uzamat Akinbile Yusuf.
The emplacement of contracts for pipeline surveillance and security, setting up of control center for crude oil movement tracking. That has been achieved. Deep drilling. That means that we are now drilling deeper, trying to explore deeper horizons to be able to increase our production. Resolution of 1993 PSC dispute, which holds over 90% of our deep water production, that is expected to unlock about $500 billion revenue and about $30 billion in foreign direct investment.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
My name is Kashim Shetima. I'm an agricultural economist by training, a banker by profession, and now a public servant by calling. I was the governor of Borno State for 8 years. In the heat of the Boko Haram, we set up an agricultural transformation committee. We crisscrossed the world and invested in the whole agricultural value chain. Lagos is the smallest state in Nigeria in terms of landmass, 3,577 square kilometers. But the largest rice mill in Africa and the third largest in the world is located in Imota in Lagos. That is the power of ideas. Bola Tinubu is an idea whose time has come. Let us vote for Bola Tinubu to be the president of Nigeria come 25th of February. God bless Nigeria.
A day to remember in the history of our dear country, Nigeria. 9 wise men from the north who are governors came together on June 8th, 2022 to stand for equity and fairness in the interest of our nation, Nigeria. They buried personal interest for the unity of our country. They supported the call that power must shift to the south in 2023. They chose a Nigeria agenda. We salute our brothers and sisters in the northern part of this country who, in spite of their vote advantage, continue to propagate the unity of Nigeria by promoting rotational presidency between the north and southern part of the country. Let voters in the north follow the move by these leaders. Vote for power shift to the south. It's the turn of the south to produce the president in 2023. Let's vote Bola Tinubu for president for a renewed hope of better Nigeria. Vote Kashim Shetima as vice president. Vote APC. Long live the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
To actualize our vision of making primary healthcare work for all Nigerians, leaving no one behind, the revitalization of nearly 10,000 primary healthcare centers nationwide. It was launched in Kuchingoro in January of 2017, and we have sustained the initiative by ensuring that at least one primary healthcare center per ward, one per ward, is getting what we call direct facility funding to begin to start and to operate, to start operations and to start attending to patients. As of today, 7,835 out of estimated 8,809 federal political wards have been activated with primary health care.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Okay then, let's take this story home. You've heard that Kano State Governor Ganduje has said the Naira redesign was targeted at something. You know, he does not feel comfortable with it. Yusuf, yes, Nigeria says she is ready to go cashless, but carry the people along, that's the problem.
No, I think with the experience we've had in the past few weeks, I don't think we are ready for cashless economy. What I saw, people really suffered. Then our banking infrastructure is not that strong enough. Yeah. It has been proven now. If we didn't know before, now we know. You get my point? You see many people making transfers that will never enter, even days, weeks after. You You get my point? If I transfer to you, you get it. That's what makes the transaction, beautiful. But if you don't get it,
and if anything goes wrong,
so
the
now
bank
for you to go and complain at the bank, the crowd at the bank, they don't even have service for you because they are battling with how to ration the small money they have. In some banks, if you are carrying their ATM, you collect 5,000. If you are not carrying their ATM, you collect 2,000. The system has been programmed.
Yeah.
So you have whatever you have there does not matter. It's what they can give you that you get. So when you go to that bank to complain, nobody will even attend to you.
Good policy, but then
poor implementation.
Poorly executed.
That's the problem.
Poorly executed.
No, I have never complained about it. In fact, when they first came up with this idea, I supported it. But the more I saw the pains Nigerians are going through, the more I voted in my heart against this. And my issue is even the time scale.
Yeah.
What was the CBN governor thinking that within this short period? Because I was in Yola. Access Bank has only one branch in Yola. And the kind of people that I saw in the banking hall, some could not even get inside. At that time, what were people doing? Trying to deposit their money. Wow. But to even get inside, because a lot of these places, they don't have enough banks. The World Bank reported in 2021 that Nigeria shut 628 bank branches. Some of them, the banks will say, oh, they are not profitable, they shut them. So we have lost a lot of branches to insecurity and all that.
All right.
628 branches.
We must go. We must go. But thank you. Yusuf, keep your money.
I think before we need to make the point that, yes, the Council of State is an advisory body to the president.
Yeah.
But they gave the advice today. Look, recirculate the old notes and print more. You can't continue to lie to Nigerians that you have enough. You can't take 2.7 trillion out of circulation and push just 400 billion into what are you going to do with the rest? That's why our people are suffering.
All right. Sorry, we must go. We must go. We must go. That's it on the program today. If you missed any part of this broadcast, join us at 11 later tonight for a late edition. And of course, on Sunday, we expand the field for you, 1:30 to 3:30. We will be on. Also know we're on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Citizen Jones. Bye-bye now.
Instant breaking news from all over the globe. Live streaming of your favorite programs delivered directly to you. Watch anytime from anywhere on your mobile or smart devices. Download the TVC News app today. Available on Google Play and Apple Store.
Housing is fundamental to the physical, mental, social well-being and quality of life. In Nigeria, a large proportion of people live in slums and unplanned settlement because of their inability to own a house or rent decent accommodation. On this program, I analyze the challenges